Talking Points. I'm Dave Kelly, Director of Advanced Media Production at Cal State Long Beach. Today we're going to explore the universe of coin collecting. It's a fascinating universe involving people that collect coins, people that sell coins, and people that invest in coins. We'll talk about all of that today. My guest is Ian Russell. Mr. Russell is the president of Great Collections. Great Collections is a coin auction company located in Irvine, California. Great Collections is also the official auctioneer for the American Numismatic Association. Welcome, Ian, and thank you for joining us on Talking Points.
Thanks for having me.
Well, Ian, as we talk about coin collecting, people are watching the show that have never had any interest in coin collecting and they don't quite understand what the fascination is. So I would like you to tell them why people that get into coin collecting are so involved and so passionate about it.
Yes, so usually collectors are introduced to coins, or whether it even be other collectibles, young in life, and usually it's by a relative who is very interested in the history of coins, and it's a way that people learn about history. And people have been collecting coins for thousands of years. Definitely for the last 200 plus years in the United States, there's been documented major collectors of coins. There's no real better way of learning about major subjects of American history, for example, than looking at coins.
And as we look at coin collecting, it's actually part of a larger coin industry, which is quite large.
Yes.
And I would break it down into three different groups. There are the people that are involved in this as an economic enterprise, like Great Collections.
Yes.
There are also investors that have a fair amount of money that they are investing in rare coins in the hope that those coins will later be worth even more when they send them to auction. And then there's the third group, is what we've been talking about already, and those are the hobbyists or the enthusiasts that just enjoy looking at old coins and thinking about the history of those coins and the stories involved in those coins. So as an industry, when we look at all the people involved, how large is this industry and how stable is it in terms of economic value?
It's a very large industry, much larger than people think. There are billions of dollars worth of coins that transact in the United States each year. And there's different levels, as you mentioned. There's the third group that you just mentioned, the hobbyists per se. There's different levels of hobbyists. And as you mentioned, some are just collecting change and they're looking at the coins every time they're handed a coin to see if there's anything wrong with it or if there's something special about the coin. But there's other hobbyists that are buying the new issues from the US Mint. That might be another level, and then people gravitate towards rare coins and certified coins, graded coins, and then there's obviously the highest level of the industry as well.
Right, and when we look at this as a collectible industry, there are lots of collectible industries out there. People that collect classic cars, or collect baseball cards, or they collect antique furniture. So what is the advantage of being into coin collecting as opposed to other collectible areas?
Well, I'm a little biased because I'm into coins, so I'm going to say coins are the best, and that's where my interest is. Look, there's many different collectibles today. People collect beanie babies, and sports cards is a huge industry that's grown a lot over the last 10 years. The coin industry continues to grow. The advantage with coins, in many coins there's an intrinsic value. There are gold coins, silver coins that aside from what was minted, when the coin was minted, there's actually gold and silver and platinum in the coin. So it's another angle. Coins have been collected for so long. It has a much longer history than these new collectibles. From a value standpoint, over most 10 to 20 year periods, coins have increased in value. Most 10-year periods, I would say. And obviously they do fluctuate at times, but it's a relatively stable collectible. There's price histories, and you can research certain coins on when they appeared in an auction 150 years ago or 130 years ago. So you can do a lot more tracking of histories of coins.
Everyone has a grandfather or a great uncle that was involved in coin collecting, and some people don't even find out until that person has passed away.
Yes.
So if someone goes into the home of a deceased grandparent and finds that the grandfather had this box, which amounts to a treasure chest full of coins in the closet, what's the first thing they should do?
So the first thing is do not clean the coins. We've seen time and time again where people have seen coins that have tarnished or appear tarnished, and they've cleaned them because they want to get a better photo of the coins. Rule number one, do not clean the coins. They're more likely much more valuable in the condition that they're in. Very rarely we'll recommend to conserve a coin, and it would be done by professionals. No one should do it unless they know what they're doing, and because you can absolutely destroy the value of the coin. So that's rule number one. Number two is take photos of the coins, and there's several different places, including my company, Great Collections, that you can email us photos, and we can tell fairly accurately just by photos. Sometimes we'll need additional photos or close-ups, but for the most part we can tell very accurately from basic photos what the values are of the coins, which we share with people. You can also take the physical coins into local coin shops in your area and get a few different opinions. It's always a good idea to get different opinions, and learn more, ask questions in person. That's another way of doing it. But there's also books you can research coin values, and obviously online there's a treasure trove of websites that will assign values to coins.
So if those coins enter an estate sale, what percentage of coins do you deal with, or does the industry deal with, that come from estates or through estate sales?
So I mean, eventually a lot of collectors do pass on, and so I don't know of any that haven't over a long period of time. So we're handling a large estate at the moment that's millions of dollars worth of coins, and the family was not aware of how significant the coin collection was. People in the industry who knew the gentleman knew that his coins were worth millions of dollars, but his family he never let on, and they're absolutely shocked right now of the values that they've been left, and they're being sold over a series of auctions, and they're completely amazed. Some people some family members will share that with family members while they're still alive, that they have valuable coins, and leave instructions on what to do. In this particular case, the only thing he said was to contact Great Collections, but the other people are surprised and they have no idea. They find a coin collection that ends up being a surprise for the family.
Well, let's talk about the history of the U.S. Mint. When did the U.S. Mint start minting coins, and also how did the gold rushes and the silver rushes of the 1850s and 1860s impact the development of mints in places like San Francisco and Carson City, Nevada, and Denver, Colorado?
Yeah, great questions. So the U.S. started to mint coins in the 1790s, and they started slowly. It's over a period of several years, introducing new denominations. And one of the coins that I think we're going to speak about in a minute is 1794 silver dollar, the first year of the silver dollar. And these coins are highly coveted. I mean, not many people were able to collect coins back in the 1790s. Amazingly, some were preserved for over 200 years. Hard to believe why, if you had money in the 1790s, that you had the foresight to hang on to coins in superb condition, and they've lasted in superb condition for hundreds of years. So the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia started striking coins in the 1790s. Later on, the San Francisco Mint was established predominantly for the gold rush, and in the 1850s.
50s, yeah.
Yeah, in the 1850s. And it was a way that the gold miners were able to turn their gold into money, and it was assayed in San Francisco, and you would be paid out in dollars.
And that happened in Carson City, Nevada, with the silver rush?
Absolutely. A little bit later on, it happened in Carson City, and that was for a limited period. The Carson City Mint wasn't open for very long, and there's an attraction to these, we call them branch mint proofs, branch mint locations and branch mints. And so for example, New Orleans has one, and Charlotte had one for a short period of time as well. But there's a certain attraction to Carson City that's unlike any other mint, that people love coins minted in Carson City.
And Denver came along too because of
Denver
their
came along
gold and
too.
silver rushes that they had.
Absolutely. And for whatever reason, Carson City though has that attraction. I don't know if it's because it's two C's, two letters on the coins, but there's some major rarities minted in Carson City, and yeah, very, very popular coins.
Well, let's move along and talk about coins and valuation. What gives coins value? I would imagine it involves three different things at least. The first one would be the rarity of the coin and the rarity of it today. Also the condition of the coin, and then thirdly, the year it was minted. Now, you're probably going to tell me the year it was minted is actually the least important.
It's the least relevant of the three. There are coins that are minted just a few years ago that can sell for a lot of money, and it really comes down to condition and rarity. So if you have a really rare coin, even in poor condition, it's still worth something. And just like if you have a very common coin, if it's in exceptional condition, it can be worth a lot of money. But when those two combine, that's when you have really high values for coins.
Well, let's take a look at some images of some coins. We happen to have them here on the desk, and at home you're going to see these on the screen. So this first image is a picture of you holding two nickels from 1913. Now
Yes.
those are nickels. They're worth 5 cents face value, but those two together are actually worth something like $10 million.
$10 million, and exceptional coins, exceptional because there were only 5 minted. And this is 2 of the 5 coins that we handled in the last 12 months. And they have a fascinating history. Each of the 5 coins have a independent history. One of the coins appeared in the Hawaii Five-0 TV show in the 1970s. These two, one of these coins is the finest of the 5 coins. 2 of them are in museums. One's in the Smithsonian Museum and one is in the A&A.
Let's look at the Walton coin, which is
Yeah,
one of those, the Liberty Head Walton coin. We're taking a look at that right now. That's the front of the coin. That's called the obverse in the coin collecting world. In the everyday world, that's called the heads side. The other side is the tail side, which we're looking at right now. Tail side is called the reverse in the coin collecting world. So as I understand it, this coin was involved in a fatal car accident. It was in the car. It was recovered from the car. What happened after that?
So it took a long time. So in the 1960s, there was a fatal car accident, and a gentleman that owned the coin was taking it to a coin show to display, and the coin wasn't recovered until 45 years later. There was a kind of movement in the coin industry to try to rediscover the 5th 1913 nickel, and it was finally found only 15 years ago, and it was found by the family. I guess all the debris from the car accident were gathered up and taken back to a family home, and it was discovered decades later. And it was certified as genuine as the missing nickel. Now, very briefly, the 1913 nickel is only valuable because that is the year that they switched over to the Buffalo nickel. So this coin should not exist. It was struck by the U.S. Mint, and 5 of the coins left the mint, and these are the 5 coins.
Very rare.
Very rare.
We've come to the break now, so we're going to have to take a break now.
Great.
When we come back, we'll take a look at some additional coins, values, and why are these coins so valuable, stories similar to what we just heard. Stay tuned.
Life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome. Prediabetes does. One in 3 adults has prediabetes, and you could be one of them. There are usually no signs for prediabetes, so it's important to understand your risk. With early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. And you can change the outcome. Take the 1-minute prediabetes risk test today. Go to doihaveprediabetes.org.
Welcome back to Talking Points. I'm Dave Kelly, and my guest today is Ian Russell. We're talking about coin collecting. And Ian, before the break, we talked about a couple of 1913 Liberty Head nickels that collectively are worth about $10 million, and that's a lot of value. Let's talk about how coins can be assigned an objective value before they get to the point of being auctioned or sold. And that's done through a process known as coin grading. So briefly tell us, what is coin grading? How does it work? Who does the grading? And can we trust the results of the grading that's done?
Yes, so the coins are graded on the Sheldon scale, which is a numerical scale from 1 to 70, 70 being perfect, and 1 being poor, which is literally the grade is poor 0, 1. And they're graded by third parties. There's 2 leading grading services, PCGS and NGC. PCGS is in Orange County, California, and NGC is in Florida. They're the 2 leading grading services that will grade and encapsulate the coin in a tamper-proof holder so you can trust the grade. They are third parties. There's multiple graders that look at every coin, and they're studying the coin, confirming that it's genuine, and assigning a grade on the Sheldon scale.
Now, how do we know that those grades are trustworthy? How do we know that that is a good grade? And is there ever a difference of opinion?
Yeah, I mean, some coins are very borderline, right? Just with anything that it could be an exceptional 65 or a low-end 66. So coins can grade different depending on who is looking at them at the time. The 2 leading grading services are the best from a consistency standpoint, and they offer guarantees that they stand behind their graded product. They're charging a grading fee, so they do stand behind their product. But grades do change, and there are borderline coins, and there are people that make their job looking for coins, their industry really looking at coins that are undergraded, so they can break them out of the holder and then resubmit again to the grading services.
So if someone acquires a coin and it's pretty apparent that it's not going to be worth more than $50 or so, it's probably not worth it to grade that because of the grading fee and all the trouble involved.
That's correct. And around the $50 is about the break even. I'd say $100 for sure. It would be worthwhile to grade, and you'll make up the difference in the grading fee, i.e. the coin will be worth more money and more than just the grading fee. $50, $60 is a little borderline. We still probably recommend it, but it's a little more borderline.
Okay, well, let's talk about what causes coins to have less value. We know that they can be graded high or low or somewhere in between, so that will help to assign a monetary value later when it goes to auction or when people are bidding for it. But in terms of the condition of the coin, what are some things that can happen to coins that can affect the value, particularly older coins? So we have an image here of the coin that you brought in as an example. Tell us about this particular example.
Yeah, so this is a very rare 1797 half dollar. It's considered a major rarity. There may only be 100, 150 coins known in all grades, 200 coins, very few. And this coin has been scratched, unfortunately. Somebody has scratched the coin, I believe on purpose. This is not an accidental scratch. And you can see in the left side, the left of the hair, there's a number of scratches. There's actually more than that all over the coin, but those are the severe ones. And that lowers the value of the coin. It's probably a coin worth, without the scratches, maybe $80,000. With the scratches, is about half that, $40,000, $45,000. Still a very valuable coin despite the scratches, but if they didn't have scratches, it'd be worth a lot more.
So if you have scratches or other flaws on an older coin, don't throw it away.
Yeah, definitely. And if it's a rare coin, as I mentioned earlier, if it's a rare coin, even if it's damaged, like scratched, or even if it's cleaned, it's still worth something. There's still money in the coin. It's just not as much as if it was perfect.
Right. Okay, we have another example that you've brought in of a coin. This is a Morgan silver dollar, a 1883 San Francisco vintage mint. It has two things going on there. We have what are called coin hits, which you'll explain to us in a moment, but also the coloration of it. The coloration is called toning. What is toning, and does it affect the value of the coin?
Yes, so talking about hits, this is an exceptional example of the 1883 dollar, which is considered a condition rarity. Most of them were put into circulation and they're in very low grade. This is an exceptional coin. It has a few little marks that you can see in the left and right field, and I call them, I guess hit is even too strong a word, but they've just come into contact with another coin, and it stops it grading the next grade, 66 or 66 plus, which may not exist actually for 83S. This coin is also toned, and the toning can occur a number of different ways. It's how the coin was stored over the last 140, 150 years. And when this was issued, it was what we call blast white. And over time, say depending on humidity, depending on if it was left in felt coin holders or anything like that, it can in paper envelopes, coins can tone. It's a number of different ways, and they can tone amazingly. Like this is fairly attractive with orange and yellows. There's some coins that tone just dark, and they're not as attractive as a rainbow. Like there's other coins that will have purples and vivid reds, and it's quite amazing. There's a whole other market for those type of coins. A toned coin on a common $100 Morgan dollar, if it's toned, can be thousands of dollars just because people like how attractive the toning is.
So the coloration of the coin, some would say discoloration, but it's really the coloration of the coin is mostly related to chemical exposure or contact with other chemical exposure in whatever it's being stored in?
Yeah, and it's not chemical exposure on purpose. There's different types of toning that we would consider artificial toning, or there's natural toning that's occurred over the years. And there is a difference, and the coin grading services are experts in working out the difference between the two.
Well, I want to move on to some of the high-end coins, and I was reading an article in CEO World magazine, and this is a magazine that appeals to CEOs who have the money to spend on high-value coins. So they were ranking the coins in order, and the most expensive coin in the world is the St. Gaudens Golden Double Eagle.
Yes.
And this is a $20 gold piece. It was minted in the early 1900s. The last year of it was 1933.
Yes.
And that one is number one, and it is worth $20 million. And then there's another one that's number two, which is the 1794 flowing hair silver dollar. And we talked a little bit about that earlier. And that one's worth about $13 million. So I want to talk about great collections. And I understand that you actually have had your hands on both of those most expensive coins in the world. Let's take a look at this image, which shows you holding that St. Gaudens $20 gold piece, which is worth today about $20 million. How did you get a hold of that?
So this is a coin that we helped the owner to get certified. When it sold in auction a couple of years ago now for just under 19 million at the time, it was not graded at the time, which was highly unusual for a coin of this significance to not be graded by one of the two leading grading services. We subsequently put it on display at the ANA World's Fair of Money 2 years ago, and it has an amazing history to it. It's the only 1933 $20 gold coin that's legal to own. It was something that should not have been issued. The government recalled all of the coins before they left the mint, but one of them was determined to be legal to own, and this is the coin.
All right, and now we have this is the 1794 flowing hair silver dollar. And so we'll take a look at the obverse, or the head side. Tell us about that coin.
So this coin is rumored to be the very first silver dollar minted by the US Mint in 1794. There's no absolute proof to it. However, once you see the coin, and you can see from the image, it's a very specially struck coin. It doesn't look like the other 1794 dollars that are out there. And we purchased this coin for $12 million last year, and we sold it to one of our clients. It's the most valuable silver US coin, and really the only coin that surpasses this one is the 1933 Double Eagle.
Right, and we're also showing an image of both sides of that coin. So we have the obverse and the reverse, or the heads and the tails. So viewers can get a chance to take a look at that. We better move on in the interest of time. So there was also a shipwreck that occurred in 1857, and this happened off the coast of the Carolinas. And it was a ship called the SS Central America. It was loaded with gold from the San Francisco Mint. The gold was actually loaded on the ship in Panama through the Isthmus of Panama, where the gold came from the west coast through the Isthmus of Panama, got onto the ship in the Panama Atlantic coast, headed up to the Carolinas, got entangled in a hurricane actually, and after 3 days of valiantly trying to escape the hurricane winds, unfortunately the ship succumbed to that hurricane. It sunk to the bottom of the ocean. About, I think, 400 people were killed, which was a huge tragedy, and a lot of gold also went to the bottom of the ocean. And what happened with those coins? We're taking a look at one of those right now. This is the $3 piece, I believe.
This is the finest $3 from 1857 that was minted in San Francisco, that's known, and it was discovered at the bottom of the ocean. And 20 years ago, the coins were discovered using advanced technology, and they brought the coins up from the bottom of the ocean and started to conserve them and get them graded. The coins it's the most significant shipwreck of coins ever discovered. The coins are worth an astronomical amount of money. There were so many thousands of gold coins. It really is unheard of. It's called the ship of gold in the industry. It seems like everything that was on it was gold.
And this is the reverse side, or the tail side, with the great collections, because you obviously handled that one.
We handled this, yeah. This is from the finest shipwreck set of coins.
And I've got another couple of very quick coins that show a $20 gold piece that came from that as well. So that was not this particular coin, but a coin very similar to that was involved.
Yeah,
in what you handled.
Yeah, exactly. We handled a number of the 1857S $20 pieces. This is the finest proof-like example. It really looks like it was struck and handled with gloves from the moment it was struck, and it's really black and white. In person, if you see it, the proof-like surfaces are amazing.
Well, we need to keep moving on. We only have about a minute to go with the show. So let's talk about double die and coins that have a double die flaw. This is a 1958 penny. Very briefly, explain what a double die is and why is this coin a penny, a cent, 1 cent coin face value? Why is it worth over $1 million?
Yeah, we sold this coin for over $1 million just recently, and there's only 3 known. This is the finest of 3 coins. It has a double die. A double die occurs when the die that strikes the coin was struck twice. So every coin that's struck using those dies have the same double appearance. It's not that the coin was struck twice, it's that the die was struck twice. And it's one of the 20th century rarities of US coins. And
we have another one from actually the 1969 collection, the San Francisco Mint, another one that was a double die issue, and this one is worth about $500,000 to $600,000.
This is the finest example from 1969, minted in San Francisco. There's about 100 coins known of the 69S versus only 3 of the 1958. And this one is by far the finest example and had a lot of interest when we recently sold it.
Well, Ian, unfortunately, we have run out of time, but this has been fascinating. I'm sure our viewers have learned a lot about coins.
Great. Thank you for having me.
And thank you for joining us on this edition of Talking Points. Be sure to join us again soon for another episode. Until then, I'm Dave Kelly. Have a nice day.